Did you get that email from Salesforce alerting everyone that API deprecations are coming in 2025 summer release? Well, if not, you were probably the only one. At least that's how I felt about it. Because everyone acted like the building was burning down.
Okay, but I could set the building on fire.
And look, I think Salesforce is being a tad bit overdramatic. So we'll tell you how to solve it, why everyone thought it was a big deal, and then you'll be back to smooth sailing. Let's get into it. Hey everybody. Starting a couple months ago, we started to get some questions from our customers that were a little strange. They were asking us about API versions and what to do about them in their Apex code. And that's not usually the questions we get. Usually we get questions like this.
PC load letter? What the f does that mean?
So what actually happened? Let's break it down. First, Salesforce blasted out an email that was like, action required, update the latest API versions, they're unsupported, which is pretty over the top. But also, check out the rejections. That's pretty good. I did that preview on Mac. Not gonna lie. Yeah, just saying. It turns out that Salesforce sent out this doom and gloom message, and everyone responded with Chicken Little syndrome. Cue every admin running around like Chicken Little with their head cut off, yelling, the APIs are deprecated, the APIs are deprecated. I honestly just felt bad that Salesforce had bullied everyone into believing that this was an important message. I mean, this wasn't an evil plot to kill your Salesforce instance. Or was it? Okay, so Salesforce deprecates APIs like every 3 to 5 years. Well, okay, it's supposed to be 3 years for approximately 10 releases. But let's be honest, it doesn't get done that often. It's kind of like how you're supposed to change your oil every 3 months. That doesn't really happen. What really ends up happening, you just wait around until you see oil spilling out of your car or that big red light thing. You ignore that for like 6 months, and that's really how it gets done. Now, let's actually get into how to fix these issues. I'm going to take you through the 5 steps that we'll run through to help you accomplish this. And we've done this for a few clients already. Step number 1, we're going to create a sandbox. We're going to go into there. We're going to update your API versions. We're going to run some tests. We're going to make sure you guys know how to fix that code. And then finally, we're going to deploy it to production, and you'll be all set. Let's get started. Many of you watching have probably never created a sandbox before. So we're going to help you do that today. That's why I got my good old laptop. We're going to walk you through. Some of you might also be wondering, why do we even need to create sandboxes? Well, actually, it's pretty important. And it's one of those instances where we can't just do it live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Sorry, Bill. Can't do it live.
F***ing thing sucks!
I know. But Salesforce actually won't let us change the code in production. Like literally, they just won't allow it. Now, even though Salesforce won't let us do it, it's also something I would recommend that you do anyway for all of your changes. You should start in the sandbox and then go to production. That's just good best practice. Okay, so we're going to jump in here. The first thing you want to start off doing is creating a public group. Now, this is going to be super important. This is something Salesforce released just a little while ago, but it's awesome. Basically, you get to pick the people who can auto log into the sandbox. Normally, for other users, there's a bunch of other stuff that you have to do, but we're not going to do any of those today. We're just going to show you how to create this public group and move forward. But it's a really important first step before you create the sandbox. So we're going to jump in here, type in public groups, go and create a new one. All right, so we're just going to call this admins. Really easy. Pick your users. Pick myself. Click save. That's it. You're good. That's all I got to do for public groups. All right, now we're going to hop over to sandboxes. Okay. And there's a lot of sandboxes types, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But what we're going to pick today is a developer. Developers are the easiest, so it goes developer, developer pro, partial, and full. So a full copy copies all of your data. A partial copies part of your data. A developer pro just has like a little bit more features in it. And then a developer sandbox is the most like bare bones of the sandboxes. You have a lot of them. Almost everyone will have them. Not everyone will have a full. So that's one I normally tell everyone to choose. But it's really up to you. We can probably do a video later on what all those different sandboxes mean. Okay, so now we're going to click on New Sandbox. All right, and we'll just name this one. Now, you can't have any spaces, and you just got to remember it only has so many letters, so there's a big limit on that. But this is sandbox for API deprecations. Cool. Most of the time we want to copy production, so that's a pretty good one. Click save. We don't have any Apex classes, but remember that group we had earlier. Click that, hit create, and you're good to go from there. This does take a while. So
talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. The radical reconstruction of the South after the Civil War was neither radical nor a reconstruction. Discuss.
Sandbox ready? Great. Click login next to it. Type in your username as it is in production, and then we're going to do dot and the sandbox name after it. So in this instance, it's going to be API and then the abbreviated deprecation that we put in there before. And then just log in with your normal password in production. Now, if this does take you a while and you change your production password, don't assume that this password will change. It's kind of like caught in a segment of time from when you refreshed it. So just remember that when you're logging in, if you have trouble in the future logging in. But just for argument's sake, don't change your production password while you're doing this. All right, head over to setup. And we'll get into some of this code. Now you got to remember that we're going over a lot of different components here. So we're just going to type in Apex class because that's the one we're looking at today. On Apex classes. And you're looking through it and you want to click that API version. Luckily all the columns are sortable. So then you get the lowest ones. Now I only have 53 here, but we'll work with that. Go ahead and hit edit, go into version settings, and just simply click and scroll up to the latest version. Now I do one less because when you're doing releases, they can get a little overdone, but just go ahead and click save and you're done. That was it. Easy peasy. That's all you got to do. Okay, so one thing you didn't notice in my org, but you may notice in yours, is manage package classes. Now these things may have really, really, really old API versions. Unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do about those, right? But hey, like the easy part is reach out to your vendors, let them know that this is happening and that they may break their stuff. They may not care, but that's up to the vendors you chose for that. So good luck. You know, usually I like to send a reminder like, hey, these are changing. Please make sure it goes on there. There's probably an SLA there that they have to follow. So check with them. But ultimately, you can't even really see the code, so it doesn't really matter on your end. Just make sure it's only classes that your org has built, because those are the ones that you're going to care about. All right, we're about halfway through.
Go ahead and cry, I don't care.
Just keep going, all right? All right, who wants me to run some tests? No one? Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't really want to do this either, but hey, it's a part of Salesforce. They make us do it, so let's get into it, all right? So you're going to want to go to setup, type in Apex test execution is what we want to find. Get in there. And let's get testing. Look, you'll want to click select tests and then choose all the tests. Now, you want to make sure up at the top there where it says no namespace, that's the thing that you want. And once you get in that, you can just click everything and run all of those. And this is going to take a while. You know, it's a little dependent on the org and how many of these little bad boys you have. But now we wait. And it could take a couple minutes, a couple hours. But, you know, grab coffee, do some stretches, maybe examine some of your life choices. Here we go. Okay, let's talk developers. This is not going to be anyone's favorite topic. If you have them staffed on your team, great, you're all set, good to go. You can skip this section, head to the next one. If not, however, it's a little bit difficult. You want to make sure you staff correctly. You want to pick the right person. You definitely don't want to get in a situation where they said they knew what they were doing. They've seen stuff like this before, but they really don't know what's going on.
Whoa! Look at all the wires in there.
You don't want all those wires too?
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't have taken it off if I didn't.
And there's really only 3 options here. You do it yourself. Do not recommend doing that unless you really know what you're doing. 2, you can hire a freelancer, or 3, you can hire a consulting company. Now, I highly recommend the latter 2, right? Hire a freelancer or hire a boutique consulting firm. And I specifically mean a boutique consulting firm. Like if they have over 100 people, like, it's probably not what you need here. I'm not saying that's like completely out of the works, but hopefully you know someone over at that company if you're going to choose them. Now, when Cloud Connects does that, you know, we've typically seen that it's taken about 40-ish hours to accomplish all the API upgrades. That can vary quite a bit, but you know, you're probably going to end up spending between 5 and 10K on those. Now, we don't have the time in this video to go through the whole hiring process. We'll probably make another video on that specifically, but that's just to give you a range and idea of like kind of the level of effort here and how much that costs, which is really important. And you're really going to want to pay attention to our so what section coming up later, because that'll really be able to like give you a clip that you can then send to your boss, so you can be like, hey, this is why this is necessary. But for now, I'm hoping this is informative. And look, you can always leave comments below, and I will gladly respond to anyone who has questions going over any of these things. It's a difficult topic, and we want to be here to help. Once those tests are green, we're going to package this up and put it in production. And remember, we're going to want to do this off business hours. This is a change to the org. You don't want to interrupt anyone's workflow during business hours when they're going to do stuff. But it gives us a little chance, you know? Take a little breather, do it on the couch, have a beverage. Because remember, this is going to be a little tedious. Salesforce hasn't updated this process in like 2000 and late. Like, it's bad. It's going to be rough. But buckle in, prepare, and we'll show you how to do it. Oh, sorry, forgot one minor thing that we have to do, and we kind of have to go back to production to do it. But it should be real quick. Essentially, we have to let production know and accept the changes that we're going to push to it with the outbound change set. So real quick, all you got to do is just hop back over to production. And when you're in there, just get back into setup. And then again, we're going to go over to that left-hand side. And we're just going to type in deployment settings. Very good. And then skip the screen. All right. And then there's our sandbox. So we're going to click edit real quick. And we're going to hop in there. And there's this little checkbox, allow changes. And that's super important. Because now, when we go back to set up an outbound change set, it'll actually let us do that for production. Okay, great. Now let's create our first outbound change set. Is that it, right? You know, and sorry for all the back and forth. It is a lot, I know. I mean, it's almost worse than asking my toddler what to have for breakfast. It's a lot of back and forth. But hey, let's walk through it right now, okay? So as you hop back into your sandbox, go to setup, outbound change sets, go ahead and click new, and we're gonna just type in API deprecation 2025. Always add notes. It's for all the newly updated code. Nice. Go ahead and click save. All right, now we're gonna add components, and this can be a long list of components. So just know when you look at the list, there's a lot of them. Scroll down very far. Most of the Apex stuff is gonna be up top, so just look up there. Right now we're gonna click on Apex classes. Perfect. We're gonna scroll down and add the one that we changed the API name on. Just click add change set. And that's pretty much it. You just create a change set. Congratulations. So to upload, we click upload. Now that we've done the deployment settings, upload's available for production. Click upload. And it's off. They'll email you because, you know, in 2025, email is the best notification system we still got. No Slack, no IM, No text. No nothing. Just, hey, we'll send you an email when it's done. Yeah. Okay. And when you finally get that email, we kind of just wait again. Like, that's it. You're really just waiting. And I know. It's like being stuck at a hell loop at the DMV. Great. Now that we know the change set is in production and ready to be deployed, let's hop back into production and get it deployed. All right, so you're going to go to setup and type in inbound change sets this time. All right, it should pop up there. Click into it, and you're going to hit deploy. Now, you can validate, but we're going to deploy this time. And because it's code, you have to run the test. So click on run local tests, because that'll only run those tests that we ran earlier. Click deploy and click OK. Now, do remember that this is changing things in production. Okay, so be careful when you click that button. But for now, look at the deployment status. So we get to wait again. Fortunately for this one, this should be pretty quick. My tests run really fast, so we'll just keep it here so you guys don't have to go away. But yours may take several hours, so just be very aware of that. But it's running pretty quick this time. And there we go. Deployment succeeded. All right, and that's it. Your org is future-proofed until the next deprecation, but it's all good. Now, let's get back and go over what you need to talk with your boss about when it comes to potentially hiring outside resources to handle that development. Okay, outside of Salesforce trying to make a big deal out of this and sending you alerts like action required in all caps and yelling and screaming at you, you're probably wondering, why does this matter? I mean, look, I just said earlier that API deprecations only happen every few years. Very once in a blue moon will this come across your desk. But even though this doesn't really change a whole lot in your org, functionality-wise or otherwise, it is extremely important. And you want to make sure that you understand the repercussions of not doing anything and or hiring the wrong person to take care of it, right? So let's start with not doing anything. So let's say it costs you 10 grand. You have to go justify that to your senior leadership team. We totally get that that's a lot of money, especially when you're already paying a lot for Salesforce. But the repercussions of not doing this could be pretty dire. And so we want to look at it as insurance, especially like calamity insurance. Because you don't want to be the person who halted something in sales or marketing, like making them not be able to do their jobs because an API version wasn't updated. And that's really the repercussion that can happen here, right? So it could break a piece of code. That piece of code could break when people are trying to close deals, when people are trying to update opportunities or leads or contacts or accounts or any number of things that can happen in your system. The hard part is we really don't know what's being affected in your org until we go look at it. And the person looking at it has to have the expertise of a developer to make sure that that happens. So really, you want to make sure that people really understand that you could lose out on your sales rep's ability. And nothing, I mean nothing, kills budget and allocation like salespeople sitting on their butts because their CRM can't handle their ability to close deals. I've seen it happen. I've seen Salesforce go down, and I've never seen an executive team more animated or standing at my desk, breathing down my neck about something I can't do than when that happens. And that's really what you want to do. So the case that you want to make is not, hey, this is something that's going to cost extra and be very valuable. That's not at all. It's very much insurance. You're insuring that the Salesforce product that you bought and your company runs on and ensures that you close deals with runs smoothly. There are no hiccups in that process. And yes, is the Salesforce imposed? Definitely. But you need to make sure that you guys educate anyone who's giving pushback on this, that this could really just shut down your company. I mean, literally shut it down for hours, days, whatever it's going to take, because these things can't turn on a dime. If this ends up breaking a process, it could take you days or weeks to fix it. Now, hopefully, whoever's fixing it for you is watching this video. They know all the steps and they can do it quickly. But even here, we had to wait several hours potentially during this process just to get it done. And that's really, really fast. Normally this takes a couple weeks to do. And you can't have a couple weeks of sales downtime. It's just not a thing that could happen. And so those are the calamitous events that could happen if you don't tackle this. So it's really, really important to get it right. And it's really, really important to do it as soon as you can. That's not to say that everything's going to go crazy or that you're going to spend a ton of money or a ton of effort doing this. But it is really, really important to take care of it. And we want to make sure that everyone is informed. That's why we put this video together. We've done this a few times for a few companies. We really know how this stuff works. So hopefully this has been informative and will help you really understand and educate those in your company why it's worth going and spending the money to make sure that it's done right and done quickly before you have something break. Well, thanks for following along. Glad we all made it. Hopefully in the future you feel a little bit more prepared for API deprecations, a little less chicken little. Please, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And then, we really do want to focus on making sure everyone puts stuff down in the comments. It really helps us out. Let us know what topics you guys want to talk about. We hope this was really useful, and we look forward to watching future videos.